Man, it sure is about time I've talked about something that isn't a pointless remake to a beloved classic. Instead, it's going to be a pointless sequel to a beloved classic. According to some.
Welcome to the Star Wars review.
In this episode of my rare reviews, we'll be going over to a franchise that is either beloved or despised. Where do I stand regarding Star Wars? Well, I'm someone that's only a casual fan of the series. While I do really like the characters, settings, and stories, I'm not really one to go deep into the lore of this universe. Granted, I do buy the merchandise, and I did cosplay as Anakin Skywalker once, but don't expect me to browse Wikipedia every day.
I'm probably in the same camp, so I casually like Star Wars. I have a couple Star Wars shirts that I'll wear, but I liked Force Awakens enough, shrug. And I didn't really like Last Jedi, even though some people did. I was very angry with Last Jedi. I was in that camp.
Force Awakens was a good start of the new trilogy for me. As for Last Jedi, while I do have some issues with it, I thought it was a pretty decent film overall. Can't say I blame the Star Wars fans for hating it. With that said, I don't agree with the fan base getting that upset about it to the point where they start harassing others that do enjoy the film, and bully certain actors to the point where they had to not only delete their social media accounts, but also had to go through therapy due to the backlash. Seriously.
Every fan base has its good and bad people, I guess. No one knows that better than me. Anyway, so that's our pre-thoughts, I guess. Going into this movie, I was like, I'm cautiously optimistic because Palpatine is back and the trailers look pretty bad.
I tried my best to avoid trailers for this one. I wanted to go in open-minded rather than knowing what to expect from the previews. I wanted to do that, but then... Granted, this won't be official till opening day, though given how the fan base was with the last film...
Basically, we have no idea about what's going to happen. I think my mistake in Last Jedi is going into the movie totally blind and not having any expectations, because when I don't have any expectations, they're naturally high, and then I'll get mad if something happens that I don't agree with. And plus, I brought my dog to see Last Jedi with me, and he had a Star Wars hoodie, but he was antsy because the noise scared him, and I couldn't go anywhere because the theater was packed, because of course it was, because it was opening night.
Aw, poor little puppy. Speaking of theaters, we should probably get going to see the film now. Here's hoping for the best.
Okay, so, the movie was just okay. I kinda liked it, but I feel stupid for liking it because everyone else is complaining about it, and I understand the plot hole stuff is stupid, but I liked it. I'm sorry.
Rise of Skywalker? More like Rise of My Patience, am I right?
To leave the room after that.
Okay. In all seriousness, in my personal opinion, I thought this film was just I didn't hate it, I didn't love it. I thought it was in the middle of being dull and somewhat enjoyable.
Yeah, the sequel series has been really bad about, explaining how we got here to these certain points. I shouldn't have to read extra material to understand why there was a new rise of the First Order or whatever. That's ridiculous.
It was explained, but I didn't think it wasn't that all well executed.
It's clear that they didn't really plan this trilogy as well as they should have. Robert Iger, who's CEO of Disney, regrets how they handled Star Wars lately because this new trilogy had a lot of ambition, but it was hard to track where it was going, and because JJ just had these elements and he could just kind of continue on the story where he thought it went, but there wasn't any particular plan as far as where he needed to go except close it off, obviously. The biggest plot point I think people are going to be complaining about is how the Emperor just had a ton of ships. They're all mini Death Stars. The Starkiller base was just one big Death Star, and Harrison Ford rolls his eyes about the Death Star, and then we just got now a bunch of Death Stars that can go on ships and they can just kill everything, We're done. It's over, guys. It's over. We don't explain that. We don't explain how the Emperor survived besides that vague line from Revenge of the Sith where the dark side gives you powers to extend your life or some bull.
Darth Plagueis, so powerful and so wise, he could even keep the ones he cared about from dying.
I don't know, you can't just explain something by a one-off line and then just assume the audience will understand. You gotta show, don't tell. That's movie rule number 1 of all the most important ones.
The one credit I'll give to Palpatine here is that he looks pretty cool as a zombie-looking fellow. I think I'll start calling him Zombatine from now on. Not really. Speaking of him, Palpatine is Rey's grandfather! Okay.
I mean, I knew they were gonna do something because people were pretty disappointed with the whole, like, Rey comes from nowhere, she's nothing, she has no lineage. So I knew they were going to try to reveal it, quote unquote, at some point. And at least it's kind of makes sense in a way because she is pretty OP. At least we know why? Shrug.
So this film has some new characters that are not interesting. We've got the cliche ex-partner of Poe where they hated each other when meeting for the first time in a while that later on would hint they will be back together. This chick that has the same backstory of Finn and nothing else. Baby Yoda wannabe, and others I'm sure I've already forgotten. This film already has enough characters as it is. I don't think adding more is necessary.
The other biggest thing I hated is they killed off Kylo Ren, and I was so mad because if you think about it, all the original trilogy characters were doing something to help him. It just felt like a waste because Han Solo died to help him, Leia died to help him, and Luke died to stand up to him. I really think reformed Kylo Ren would have been a really interesting idea to explore in the future. That's a lot of story potential that they just threw out the window because drama. Rian Johnson's purpose with The Last Jedi was to subvert expectations, and by doing that, by that coming in that second movie, characters like Luke caught in the crossfire of that, where he has to sacrifice Luke because he has to subvert expectations. But what about people's expectations for Luke for 40 years? Like, that's not fair to them. It depends on the character, I think. If we had a pony show come back and like all the characters were written differently and Twilight is mean and gross and, you know, like if they did something to Discord that I didn't agree with, like on a very baseline character level, not so much of an interpretation level, then I'd be mad too. These are lessons learned that you have to have some sort of loyalties to what's already established in the previous movies, because if not, then it's just going to isolate people and it's going to make people upset, and it feels like you're just doing something to be dramatic, quote unquote.
You've pretty much just speak the truth right there, KP. My thoughts overall? Yeah, this is just a big film right here. It's not like The Last Jedi where like this is big divided over like if it's really good or bad. Here, I think everybody could agree that this film is just not that great. 5 out of 10. That's all I gotta say about it.
I'll be nicer than that. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I liked it. Some of it was kind of stupid, but a lot of it wasn't the film's fault. It's just because a lot of it wasn't weaved in between the story. Yeah, 7 out of 10. Me being generous.
Well, that should do it for a review of Rise of Skywalker. I'm Logan Miller.
I'm KP from the YouTubes. Please subscribe to me if you want to, and also subscribe to Logan. Do you like this? Do you think these are good ideas? Let us know in the comments, all 2 of you who's gonna watch this, so.
Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.
Good night, everyone.
Man, I barely contribute much in this video.